Today we're going to do a comparison of the Bellroy Transit Carry-On versus the Bellroy Transit Carry-On Plus. I reviewed over 500 of the world's best bags and suitcases, so we're really gonna tear these things apart. We're gonna pack them out. I'm gonna give you my brutally honest pros and cons. And if you're not quite sold that these are the suitcases of your dreams, you're gonna wanna stick around to the end of the video where I'll make a couple alternative suggestions for suitcases that are offered something a bit different, but are pretty similar to this, because our goal is to help you find the best bag for your needs. Let's talk about the gist of the Bellroy Transit Carry-On suitcases. You know, holy crap, Bellroy is making suitcases. It has been a year and a half of brands, like carry brands, launching suitcases. Started with Air, then Peak Design, now Bellroy. Who's next? Margaret, who do you think's next? Able Carry suitcase? Just an X-Pack suitcase? That'd be tight. Yo, Able Carry, make a soft shell X-Pack suitcase. Margaret and I would be about that life. Because if you don't know, Bellroy is an Australian carry company known for making really quirky urban backpacks and carry gear like wallets and phone cases. And in our little crazy carry community of backpack enthusiasts, they're a big deal. So suitcase launch, you know, we got high standards and we wanna know what Bellroy is bringing to the table. So I'm gonna break that down. Let's talk about some of the top features of these suitcases. They are hard shell suitcases. They use 4 Hinomoto rolling wheels. It's got a TSA lock, soft handles that just feel amazing. Not gonna lie, big fan of what they did with these handles. We've got a custom handle. It's also actually built into the outside of the bag, which should help save some packing space in the main compartment. And then inside the main compartment, we got a bunch of internal organization that comes included with the suitcase. As of recording, both versions of the suitcase come in 4 color options. And we got 2 different sizes, the 34 liter and the 39 liter, both of which are pretty good carry-on sizes. I'll be honest, I'm actually surprised how similar in size they are. You think they would have like a 30 and a 38, or maybe like a 35 and a 45. There's only a 5 liter difference between the two. But this is where it gets into dicey territory as to where will they fit with the airlines that you like to fly with. For the carry-on, the dimensions with the wheels are about just under 22 inches height on 12.5 inches width and around 9 inches depth. Versus the Pro, which is just under 23 inches height, 15 inches width, and a depth of under 10 inches. But before the great debate begins, let's talk about the weight, which for the carry-on is clocking in at 7 pounds, and the Carry-On Plus locked in at 7.4 pounds. So with the Air and Peak Design suitcase releases earlier in time, wasn't longer than a year ago for some of them, those were 8+ pounds, 8.5 pounds for some. So these aren't like much lighter, but they are lighter. So now you got the specs for the dimensions and the weight. I gotta hear it, let it begin in the comments below. Did they pick the right sizes? Is this not European travel friendly enough? Are there parts of the world where this ain't gonna fly, literally? Your comments when it comes to this are really important because A, it teaches me a lot, and B, it helps to educate other potential buyers. So let me know in the comments below. And for all that, Bellroy has told us the Carry-On will run around 299 USD, and the Carry-On Plus will run around 320 USD. We're also in a weird place with tariffs right now, so who knows if that could change. But whether there's tariffs or no tariffs, or you're like, dude, I don't care what the price is, I'm getting me one of those. If you're gonna make a purchase, we highly recommend you do so using the first link in the description below. Reason being, that link makes sure that you get the best price, and we oftentimes have discount codes. But that link also helps support the Nomadization YouTube channel and team so we can keep making the best bag reviews on the web. Thank you very much. Let's talk about the outside of the Bellroy Transit Carry-On suitcase. I don't know what material they're using here. It just says ultra durable, hard shell exterior. It feels a little bit lighter than some of the hard shells I've tested in the past, like compared to this Air, which does feel a little thicker maybe, but that's also helping to cut down on weight ever so slightly. Bellroy's logo getting a bit bigger by the day, but it's still pretty subtle with that white on white. Can't complain. And one thing I definitely can't and won't complain about are these handles. God, I love these. Now, most handles of suitcases, they're sort of these soulless plastic and laser cut. They just don't feel great. These, man, they got some spirit to them. First of all, wait for this. This pop, I love that. I can do this all day. This is like my crack. Like, everything about that is just so nice. And the niceness is also helped by the fact that these are soft. Decent amount of padding in here. It gives you that pull for a little extra leverage when you need it. And they feel very, very durable. So overall, big fan of the handles. Speaking of handles, we got a trolley sleeve here, which the design is quite nice because like I said, it's sort of on the outside, which means that it's taking less space from the inside and overall capacity of the main compartment. How much? We'll take a look at in the next section. Now for the handle itself, this is custom designed. It's got an underside button, and you can see it goes up 1, 2, 3 settings. Having played around with this handle and the handle on the soft shell suitcase from Bellroy as well, I think they're fine. I'm not a luggage handle expert. They got the same amount of wobble and clickage that most handles have. I don't have enough experience or insight to really confidently say, like, oh, the titanium isn't molded in the right. I don't got that for you. What I do have is the fact that it's smooth, it feels durable, and I don't feel like they're gonna break on you anytime soon. And one thing that definitely won't break on you anytime soon are these wheels, because they're made by Hinomoto. And yes, you have to say it with that accent. I just finished watching Shogun, so my Japanese accent is on point. And Hinomoto makes the best freaking luggage wheels in the world. Most of the luggage brands use them. It's like YKK, also a Japanese company. Japanese, they just make the best parts, dude. And this is where we get into a conversation of what's better, 4 or 2 wheels, because Bellroy's other suitcase that they launched is a 2-wheeler, and each kind of has their pros and their cons. Obviously with the 4-wheeler, it's that glide. It's that Christy Yamaguchi, just like whoosh, glide that's really hard to beat. But the argument being against 4-wheelers, more bulk, double the wheels equals double the likelihood that one piece of hardware will break on you. And you don't want a wheel to break on you mid-journey. You're gonna have a bad time if that happens. And it adds more weight. But if you're into 4-wheel design, I will say I have traveled the world with bags that use Hinomoto wheels. These feel just as smooth as any Hinomoto wheel. They're extremely durable. So you can just kind of Michelle Kwan your way through airports and your travel destinations. Let's move on and talk about the inside of the Bellroy Transit Carry-On and the Carry-On Plus. We're gonna fill both out so you can see, which size is best for your packing needs. You'll notice here we have an included TSA lock. A lot of people were very upset with Peak Design's debut suitcase because it did not have a TSA lock. So now you got the lock, which means you can pop it open like this, set your own code. Mine is 000, tell no one. These are you YKK? I actually don't know about suitcase zippers. Yep, YKK, only the best hardware. And then you can see we're inside. Now remember, this is the regular version, which is 34 liters. For the organization, we have this compartment here, a divider that gives you another mesh pocket. We've got the tag right here, which can also house your air tag. And then you got these right here, which are the built-in packing cells, which kind of gives me prison vibes. It's a cell, it's not a packing cube, it's a cell. Now I'm gonna keep calling these prison cells, I can just tell. But the good news is that, unlike a prison cell, you can escape from these cells. Let's go ahead and pack it out so you can get an idea of what we're working with here. Now, starting with the prison cells, the packing cells, I kind of oppose their existence. Reason being, like, I got a bunch of packing cubes. I don't need them to necessarily hang. And that means that you're paying for them, right? So like if you already have packing cubes and you travel your own way, they probably could have cut the price of this thing down by 20, 30 bucks. But instead they imprisoned you in a cell of paying for the cells. These cubes, as you can see, connect via the bottom with this hardware, which kind of gives you like a closet effect so you can see what you put where. Here we have a normal size packing cube. You can see it's basically the same size. Will this packing cube fit in the Bellroy packing cube? It will, yeah. So basically you're just getting a regular sized large packing cube and your standard regular sized medium packing cube, but they have the ability to connect into the bag. Bit of a gimmick for me. Don't know what value it's really providing, unless it was an add-on. But at the end of the day, clothes go there, good to go. That's probably about a week's worth of clothing. Then on the flip side, I'll go ahead and throw my Bellroy hanging toiletry kit. Love this thing. My JSD Bombas tech pouch. Also love this thing. Book, hoodie, Evergood's tech pouch, my Lockbeat journal cover, that's about it, right? And this is the beauty of this size, 34 liters for most people. It's good for a week of travel. You'll pair this with a backpack. You'll close this on up. You'll throw some other stuffs in this section, like a rain cover and a little notebook. And you'll close it up and say, honey, let's hit the road. But now let's unpack that and test it in the 39 liter so you can see how much more space we have to play with. All right, so again, with our normal size packing cubes, you can see it fits into the Bellroy packing cell. Basically the same size. You got a little bit extra room to play with. Same thing with the medium packing cube. But obviously, as we're dealing with a larger suitcase, we got a bit more room to play with just in general. You can see, even on the sides here, you got extra storage solutions. I got my tote, maybe I'll put that there, my rain cover, you can put that here. little tripod, right? You can go ahead and do all these things in the 39 liter. And you'll see that even more on this flip side, whereas to where the stuff that was in here in the 34 liter basically filled this compartment up. But now, dude, I'm gonna throw my Bellroy shoe case in this while doing a little reorganization. But in essence, the goal is to show you the 39 liters is definitely bigger. Now, I know that with our reviews, there might be things that I'm missing that you want to find out. So if that's the case, I recommend checking out the Nomadization subreddit. You can post a question there about any bag, and our crazy passionate community is always there to help. So be sure to check that out. All right, starting with the overall pros and the cons of the Bellroy Lite Transit Carry-On suitcases. Pro number one, love the handles. Pro number two is the outside handle design does give you a little bit of extra packing space. And pro number three, Hinomoto wheels. For relaxing times, make it Hinomoto time. But on the flip side, let's talk about some cons you gotta take into consideration as well. Con number one is it's still a bit on the heavy side. Con number two is the included packing cubes do raise the overall price point. And con number three is some people like a quick access compartment on their suitcase, as of which this has none. But if you're still watching this review and you're thinking to yourself, I need a carry-on, this is a pretty dope carry-on, I'm gonna buy the carry-on, and you're gonna make a purchase, just a reminder, we do recommend doing so with the first link in the description. That just makes sure that you get the best price. And if there's any discount codes, which we oftentimes have, that's where they'll be. But if you're not quite sold, let's talk about those alternative recommendations that I teased in the beginning of the video. Alternative recommendation number one is going to be the Bellroy Lite Carry-On. This is the soft shell suitcase that Bellroy also just launched, and it's gonna come in at a lighter weight, with a more malleable build, and an overall different and pretty freaking cool design. And alternative recommendation number two is going to be the Nomatic Carry-On Pro. Great pick for you if you're looking for a high quality, kind of futuristic suitcase, but you really want quick access, especially to your tech gear, which is what Nomatic does best. So if you want to continue the search to see which suitcase best suits your needs, just go ahead and watch these two videos right here. If you got any questions about any bags, be sure to let me know in the comments below or in the Nomads Nation subreddit. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Aaron, this is Nomads Nation, and we'll catch you next time.